the newly crowned Premier League champions. The message is simple: just keep it tight. Welcome to Old Trafford for what could be a superfluous second leg between Manchester United and Benfica, as the path to the final will start to take shape. The message from Popovich is just keep it simple, keep it tight, and keep Benfica out. It is a 4-1 scoreline, as you can see from the previous encounter. Manchester City beating Atletico Madrid by 5-1. I'm not even sure if that was the original score. So yeah, not really sure what's gone on between Manchester City and Atletico Madrid. I'm pretty sure the first leg result was a 2-0 win for Manchester City. So not much has changed in the column there anyway, but the score seems to have been altered. But whatever the case, it is still a 4-1 lead that Manchester United carry into this leg. They just need to keep themselves tight, of course, and not leak any more goals. David De Gea has been retained in goal for that purpose. It is a rather young squad here, with the only experienced names being the likes of Jones, Shaw, Smalling and Henwood. It is a rather young looking side, but just to get through it more than anything else, they do have the final day of the Premier League and the FA Cup final to think about as well. But whatever the case, it is going to be an uphill battle for this Benfica team tonight. The Old Trafford crowd is rocking, and of course they just came off winning the Premier League last time out against Huddersfield. So 1 trophy down, 2 to go for Gregg Popovich to capture that elusive, well, not elusive treble, but it would be an ironic treble, considering the last time that happened was 20 years ago, almost the day as it will be in the Champions in May in a few weeks' time. For another couple of years, I mean, it is good for the experience factor, if nothing else, because Phil Jones and Chris Smalling, to be fair, aren't really setting the world alight mostly. Oh, brilliant move, Aaron Henwood, goal! And another great move, capped off by Captain Aaron Henwood. He's all of a sudden hit the surge button, hasn't he? Scored against Chelsea from the penalty spot. And now he's got another one in the Champions League, no less. He scored against Juventus, I think was the last time he scored in the Champions League. And look at this movement. Typical Gregg Popovich pass and move. That's the first time we've seen that for a while from Manchester United, but better late than never. Left foot from Henwood as well. He did really well to put that in, considering the circumstances he was under. He may be 30, and he may not be banging in the goals he once was, but Aaron Henwood is going to be always an integral part of this Manchester United side. He lives and breathes this club, as we know, and now he's put Manchester United thoroughly out of sight. Manchester United won, Benfica 0 on the night, 5-1 to United on aggregate, and there looks to be no way back for Benfica now. It's a good looking ball. David De Gea is going to get it on the end of the cross. David De Gea has had a really good end to the season, considering he's been in the shadow of Joel Pereira for most of it, but and a goal for Salvo. Well, there is a goal for Benfica, just as we say that. Commentators curse against David De Gea, it seems, but it's nothing more than a consolation, surely. It was a good pass move here by Benfica, taking a page out of Gregg Popovich's book. The shot, it's instantaneous. Again, it's a good goal. It's a good strike by the opposing team that beats David De Gea or Joel Pereira. It's such a weird story. Manchester United, when they have conceded, it is not through sloppy play, it is through good play for the opponents. Eduardo Silvio has changed the scoreline quite rapidly. Another 4 minutes and we have a goal, and it's now 5-2 to Manchester United on aggregate, and 1-1 on the night now. It'll be interesting to see what Gregg Popovich does with Dean Henderson, because he's been another one that has been on a roll in the Championship. And we have another goal for Benfica. 5-3 now. Well, another strike by Benfica. It's a strange one here, but we could be in for a bit of a tight nick affair than we thought. More pass and move. by Benfica. And another good strike, beating David De Gea. They're just not able to keep Benfica down, are they? It's a fantastic strike. Well, it's got a bit more interesting now. Manchester United 1, Benfica 2 on the night. Now 5-3 on aggregate, and all of a sudden it's looking a little bit more tense. But here, it might be just a bit tough on him. And we get tackled by Talisa off the bar, and in again by Servi, and all of a sudden this is looking a bit nervy now. And Manchester United are being absolutely decimated, and Benfica now are within a sniff of the Champions League final. Talisa off the bar, Servi in off the rebound. And now it's looking rather nervy here now. Well, it was supposed to be a bit of a superfluous exhibition matchup, but now Benfica are making it a lot more interesting. United 1, Benfica 3 on the night, 5-4 on aggregate, one more, and Benfica would win on the away goal rule if it stayed that way. They could go on and win the whole thing. Manchester United are stumbling. It looked so simple for United when Aaron Henwood put them in front. But now, they're chasing the game a little bit, Manchester United. They're still ahead, but only by the skin of their teeth now, because the away goal rule has now been cancelled out for them. And they're taken by Gomez. Chris Smalling! And there is a goal. And it's Chris Smalling, and that'll settle the nerves a little bit. And that is Chris Smalling's first goal of the season. Great corner by Gomez. And Chris Smalling has put it in, and that'll settle some nerves. Put a bit more daylight between themselves and Benfica on the aggregate scoreline. And you have to say that Manchester United's 4 goals have been crucial here. They've got 2 here now, but they're losing on the night. And a great header by Chris Smalling. His first goal of the season. It's actually an own goal by Ribeiro. And that's unfortunate, but it is a goal. And we're having a goal fest here for the first time in quite some time, involving both teams and not just United. Manchester United 2, Benfica 3, 6-4 on aggregate now. This could be anything. And serving. Tries to nutmeg Foster Mensah, but backed up by Aaron Henwood. Well, what a game. 3-2 to Benfica on the night, 6-4 on aggregate. There's certainly no shortage of goals in this one, but Gregg Popovich has got to be absolutely furious with the way his team have defended. To be fair, they've been good goals, but they shouldn't have probably been goals in the first place. That's what Gregg Popovich will argue. It's a bit of a classic here. 3-2 to Benfica on the night, 6-4 to Manchester United on the aggregate score. Aaron Henwood again. Beautiful play. And Chong into Williams, and that should do it. That should be over now. 3-3 to Manchester United, 7-4 on aggregate now. It has been a goal fest in this semi-final. And subdued celebration from Danny Williams. Wonderful cross here from Chong as he continues his strong play. No one marking Danny Williams. That is poor defending from Benfica. Danny Williams on his own, and he's going to make those all day long. Well, his brother Terry was sidelined with an injury before the beginning of the season, and PSG suffered really as a consequence because Terry was more of a defender, and they probably missed his input, and they were sent down to the Europa League, only to then be eliminated by Arsenal at that stage. And now Danny Williams could be a Champions League finalist, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see more goals. This has been a goal fest in this one. 6 on the night, 3-3 now, 7-4 on aggregate. Heads away, Smalling as well. It was a good goal he took. And even though they might concede goals, United have the confidence throughout to keep pushing forward, to keep going for 90 minutes. It's been a fat loss on Manchester United teams in the past, as we have another goal. But Manchester United in the past have maybe lost a couple of their kind of attributes, but under Coach Pop they have come back. Goal for Benfica, we must not discount this. Angel Gomez kind of gets a bit of a basketball pick, if you like, by Ribeiro there. And then another good goal, really, to be fair. Benfica are making this a game, aren't they? Really giving us some great goals to marvel over in the highlights show tonight. Castillo makes it 4-3 to Benfica, 7-5 to United on aggregate. It has been a goal fest in this one. The best game of the season by far. It's all over here at Old Trafford. It has been a goal fest. And we've had 7 on the night. But Manchester United have enough to progress. It was looking nervy for a while, but 2 second half goals put bay to Benfica's resilient attack at the end. It was a good effort and a really good game for the neutrals as well. Plenty of goals in this tie. 7-4 to Manchester United on aggregate after a 3-4 loss of the light, but Manchester United will always score. They progressed despite the loss. What a game we've had here. Manchester United 3, Benfica 4. Manchester United 7, Benfica 5. Alright, so just to clear up any confusion over the 5-1 scoreline we saw at the beginning of the night. Obviously, Manchester City and Atletico Madrid played their second leg first, and it ended up in a 3-1 victory on the night for Manchester City, resulting in a final scoreline of 5-1 on aggregate, to go with Manchester United's 7-5 win on aggregate after an epic 4-3 win for Benfica on the night. Which obviously means in the Champions League final, it is all Premier League with Manchester United and Manchester City. It's a Manchester derby UEFA Champions League final. While in the Europa League, Chelsea and Real Betis ended up finishing 3-2 on aggregate through 2 legs after a 1-1 draw on the night, and Arsenal scraped through AC Milan on the away goals rule after a 1-1 draw there, which means in the Europa League final, it's all Premier League as well. Chelsea will take on Arsenal. Well, with everything pretty much settled, this final Premier League season really has no real significance. It is going to be 10 exhibition matches. Everything has already been decided in terms of the title, in terms of relegation. There are probably a few moves left in the table, but it is all rather superfluous with everything almost confirmed. So for our final game of the Premier League season, there is the state of play. And Everton have a chance to actually solidify second place in the league. Manchester City obviously have a means to stay in the top 4. But Gregg Popovich has more important matters on his mind than this. Obviously, the defensive issues that they suffered against Benfica, the Champions League, leading to a loss. And the fact that he's got the FA Cup and Champions League finals to think about. So as you can see, the squad is relatively different. Piero has Darmian, Smalling, Rojo and McTominay in front of him for company today. Dallo is with Fred, Hamilton, Buai and Cameron Ward. And Gribben is up front. That's the wrong order again. The game has bugged out and we'll have to switch that one up. Okay, so here's where everyone actually is in the lineup. Pereira, of course, in goal with Dallo, Rojo, Smalling and Darmian in defence today. McTominay is kind of the central midfielder on his own with Ward and Gribben on the wings, Fred and Hamilton in front of them. And Joshua Buai gets a start up top by himself. The music has also disappeared. Smithies plays in goal for Cardiff with Prezuri, Mangor, Wallace and Bennett in his defence. I'm assuming this is correct. Walls, Arta and Camaraza in the back midfield with Mendesling, Reed and Hoylett up front, playing the patented Gregg Popovich second formation role for Neil Warnock today.
Thank you all.
So you can definitely tell in the Premier League there's not much to fight over. But he says go out there, enjoy yourselves and express yourselves and prove that you want a spot for next season. Would probably be somewhat said, although Gregg Popovich I don't think he'd want to move anyone on because this squad has been tremendous. Tottenham and Everton is another matchup we're focusing on, but there's a goal here for Callum Gribbin. Well, that's certainly a quick start. And Callum Gribbin here with a rather emphatic celebration. And he's got a 4-minute goal for Manchester United. Well, they certainly aren't taking it easy. And they have no right to do so. Hamilton here spins his man out and whips the ball in wonderfully. Callum Gribbin brings it down wonderfully as well. Great all-round play for Manchester United. Now, against Benfica, they did exactly this. Aaron Hill would score within minutes, and then the defence went pretty wrong. But it may be superfluous, but Manchester United still want to win this match and solidify their stance as champions, and they have taken the first step today. United 1, Cardiff 0. And that is it for the first half. And apart from a goal from Callum Gribbin, we've not really had a lot more action. It definitely, again, has an exhibition feel to it. But Callum Gribbin gets his first Manchester United goal, I believe, in this matchup. It's definitely his first Premier League goal, and it makes the score 1-0. And that's about it for the post-halftime notes, I suppose. They're two players that Manchester United fans have been very critical of. But in all honesty, Phil Jones in particular has really benefited from the score coming in. And a goal. A goal for Fred, I think. Or is it Boy? Actually, it is. Joshua Boy has scored for United. And we've gone right to the kickoff for some reason. That's bizarre. We didn't even have a celebration there, I guess. I'm not sure what happened there. But in any case, it's Manchester United 2, Cardiff City 0. It's a fun game. And Manchester United are playing like they're having fun and they're benefiting from it. 2-0 to United. And there probably could be more. Much like his NBA days. It's in his blood, Gregg Popovich. Winning is in that man's blood. And he's done it today. The title was wrapped up. Obviously last time out against Huddersfield. But another win for Gregg Popovich in the league. And he had to work hard. Let's not forget that. Manchester City were looking like running away with it, but how the tables turned. But Gregg Popovich had to still be there. He did say that in the press conference earlier this week that, you know, it may look like City's title to lose, but we still had to win. We still had to be consistent. We still had to get there. And that's very true. You know, you can't put it all on Manchester City. United took advantage of it and were hugely consistent throughout. And the celebrations here absolutely were really just unrealistic at the time, as Manchester City started the season on such a roll. But Manchester United's consistency won in the end. And what is the future for this squad? We all know that the treble could be just a mere away. It wasn't the squad of 99, but this is the start. This is the start now. This is the start of the winning formula that Gregg Popovich has curated. And Manchester United will be desperate to keep hold of him as long as they can. He will fulfill next season, he says. But we don't know what the future holds. So Manchester United players will cherish this, because never has it happened before, and it may never happen again. A new manager, an unknown manager, has come in and in his second season defied all odds and conquered them all. Manchester United are back at top of the tree where they rightfully belong. And for this squad, it's more than emphatically earned. Because at one point, it looked like being a runaway from the other side. But up came Gregg Popovich out of nowhere. City was shell-shocked by their Manchester derby loss, and they never really recovered. While this team went from strength to strength. At the end of the night, and at the end of the afternoon rather, Manchester United 2, Cardiff City 0. And these celebrations will go long into the night, I'm sure. Manchester United champions for a 21st time, which was confirmed last week. And they just proved why they are top of the tree today. Manchester United 2, Cardiff City 0. So for the final Premier League table then, it's a 9-point title win for Manchester United. And as we said at one point, it looked like being Manchester City runaway, but Manchester United have completely overhauled them. Despite City's disastrous slump in the middle, they have recovered to second, and a 9-point deficit to United in the end. Spurs finished third with Chelsea fourth, and that completes the top four. Everton just missing out on goal difference, unfortunately, as do Liverpool as well. But there was a bit of a gap between the Merseyside clubs this year, which is actually quite surprising. Everton have had a stellar season, no doubt about that. Arsenal's late surge at the end amounts to very little. They'll be in the Europa League next season unless they win it, of course, against Chelsea in the final, and then that will guarantee them a spot in next season's Champions League, just like United did under Jose Mourinho a season or two ago. Wolves have a stellar season in 8th place there, and I think that means Wolves in the Europa League places in 8th place, so we'll see Wolves in Europe next season, I believe. Let's just see 9th with Burnley completing the top 10 for 2018-19. Southampton just missed out by a point there. West Ham's loss to Watford keeps them out of it as well. Brighton 13th with Palace 14th, Watford 15th, Bournemouth 16th, and Huddersfield survive right at the end. But Newcastle, Fulham and Cardiff relegated a few weeks ago. And that is it for your Premier League 2018-19 season.